Mm-mm. Hello, hello, hello. So there's some things I want to talk about. First, I want to talk about self-love and what self-love really is. There is a false self-love and there is a real self-love. And I'm saying this according to my own experiences with the work that I'm doing, not according to what anybody else has said. When you look at these books and we define something by what could be published out there, then how do you have to ask yourself, where did they get their information, and what makes that whatever they said the end all be all? Okay. When it comes to self-love, there's a false self-love and there's a real self-love. And I want to say what I mean by that. In the 3D is a false world. The people in the 3D like us, we're not awake. We think we're awake, we're asleep. Now, some entities are NPCs, and I wouldn't necessarily say they are asleep because they were created in the false world. So I don't think I can really say they are asleep if they don't exist. If they don't exist outside of the simulation, then I can't say that they are asleep. But the ones who exist outside of the simulation, they are asleep. So when you feel saying self-love in this false world, you're talking about your false self, the person who you think you are, and loving the person who you think you are, loving a created entity inside of a simulation. People are talking about loving that person, something that's not real. And by the way, when you talk about selling your soul, you can't sell your real soul. But some people sell a false souls. Yeah, they sell their false soul. Over here, the soul we feel like we have is a false soul. Okay? And when people call themselves selling that, they're agreeing to pretty much allowing something else to use their likeness. Okay? But I think in the 3D, a lot of people have sold their souls without knowing it. It's not just the celebrities. But the celebrities, I feel like it might be worse with celebrities than it is with people who are not celebrities, even though most people have sold their souls, especially in places like the United States of America, when you have a birth certificate, when you have a social security card and all that stuff. In order to be able to, do things that we need to do here, we need social security cards, we need a birth certificate, we need driver's licenses, we need all that stuff. And to be honest with you, in order to be able to function in the United States of America, in a lot of places, you had to sell your soul. But when it comes to celebrities, they sell their souls in a different way. It's for fame, right? So they sell their souls in a different way, but either way, you sold your soul. But it's not a judgment, it's just what it is. That's why I don't get on these celebrities all the time about they sold for fame, because people don't know everybody pretty much sold their souls. Everybody have sold their souls, but they're false souls. Okay. But yeah, so there's a false self-love, which is the love of the person who you think you are. And that's good. I mean, you want to be comfortable, because if this is where your reality is, this is where your conscious awareness is, you still want to take care of yourself, take care of who you are in this world. But the thing is that if you exist outside this simulation, do you acknowledge that you exist outside that simulation? Because that person is the real Jesus. And that's what I'm going to go to right here with Jesus. I go by what I see when I do meditations. And so I've done meditations to get to my authentic self, because I already knew this person right here in 3D is a false person. 3D is the simulation. So ain't nobody real in the simulation. Even if you exist and have a real soul outside of this, the person that you see right now, nobody's real. Nobody, not even Donald Trump. Nobody is real. It's a simulation. I'm not real. The real me is asleep. The real me might be unconscious or whatever, but this right here is not the real me. And the reason why, because there's so much mind control. A lot you have entities that's in 4D or whatever that's controlling what's happening in 3D. A lot of people are not using their own mind. They think their thoughts are their own, but they're under mind control by other entities that's in other dimensions. And they're manipulating this entire realm and everything we see. And the stuff that we see is not even real. Okay? So you're not yourself. Your thoughts are not even yours. Okay? But and so I did a meditation to get to my authentic self, right? And every time I do that, when I did a meditation to get to my authentic self, I saw a sun, S-U-N. Okay, then I did a meditation with Jesus, okay? And when I did a meditation with Jesus, I still saw a sun. I saw a sun. I said, okay, Jesus is really the real me. The real me is Jesus. It's not about a man who came and died for you inside of a simulation. See, the 3D is not real. The 3D is a simulation, right? So nobody came to die for you inside of a simulation. Okay? Because when I do a Jesus meditation, I should see I don't see, I just see a sun. I see that it's my authentic self. But that's me. Okay, that's for me. Okay, that's for me. That's not for anybody else to think this is true. That's just for me. Because you don't want to give your life to a person. Give your life to Christ. I don't want to give my life to an entity like that. Like, I'm not saying, like, when I say like that, I'm not saying there's anything wrong, but you know, they say somebody came and died for you on the cross and you give your life to this person, like, you know, and just believe. You have to be a believer. I traveled to Israel, and I want to say this. I went to Israel in 2007 to do a Holy Land tour. And I'm just going to say this. There has nobody has found the graves of Peter. Nobody has found the graves of Paul. Nobody has seen Jesus' burial. They don't even know where that, for certain, where that is. All of these apostles and saints, nobody can find where they were buried. Now, when it comes to Egyptians, you can find their bodies. Let me just say, you can find their mummified bodies. But when it comes to all these saints in the Bible, Peter and Paul and all of them, their bodies, their tombs are nowhere to be found. They're not found. You're going on the Holy Land tour and you're not seeing anything, right? I mean, I went to supposedly the Bethlehem where Jesus was supposed to be born. And when it came to where he was buried and resurrected, they didn't even know if that was a real place. And let me tell you, this was in 2007. This was Benny Hinn. Benny Hinn is from Israel. So if anybody would have access to resources to get the truth on these things, it would be Benny Hinn. I didn't go on a tour with some American. Okay, I went on a tour with the guy that was from Israel. Okay, and they said this is where they believed that he was supposed to be buried. But okay, fine, you don't have the information on that. I'm okay. But why is there no information on where Paul was buried? Why is there no information on where Peter was buried? Why is there no information on any of these apostles where they were buried? Why is there no information? Where is the information with Mary Magdalene? There was never any information on that? You should not be just expected to believe. And then they come tell you, well, the devil is trying to... No, you should not just be expected to believe. Because anytime else, you're supposed to you want to find the proof of things, right? You don't want somebody to just say it. You want to see the proof. You should have the proof here, because this is dangerous to give your soul to an entity and you're just told to believe. And I went to Israel and not one of them, any proof of them even being alive in that particular area, right? In that area that is Israel, that they're calling Israel today. I'm saying in the area that they call Israel today. because that might not be the biblical location. Okay, let me just say that. That might not even be the biblical location. So in the place where they call Israel today, there is no proof of any of these people ever being alive. But you're constantly told to believe and give your life to something. And you don't know what you're doing. You're just told to be a believer instead of knowing. Why don't you know? You're supposed to know. You should not just be a believer and believe and give your life to something because you're just being a believer. Why don't you know? You should know for sure what you're doing. And the fact that somebody just say disbelieve without really knowing the truth, but believe and don't question, that's dangerous to me. That's dangerous. Okay? But anyway, so I said to say, when I did meditations on Jesus, all I saw was the sun again. The same thing I saw when I did a meditation on my authentic self. I saw a sun. When I did a meditation on Jesus, I saw a sun. I didn't see a person. I saw a sun. And I realized Jesus is for me, not for anybody else, because everybody else, we're not all the same. My experience is not going to be the same as everybody else's because we are not all the same. But I saw that Jesus is the real me. The real me is the Jesus. This is the false me right here that's speaking, because the real me is not awake, right? The real me is outside of the simulation. My real soul is outside of the simulation. Okay? But anyway, what else was I going to talk about? I'm done with that. Oh, people talk about getting married and getting on this topic about why black women are the least married, why they're single, and are black men to blame. So, that was a topic somebody talked about earlier. Are black men to blame for black women being the least married? And I said no originally because, and I still say no because I feel like if black men are doing whatever they want to do, and they're not going to stop doing whatever they want to do. And so it's time for black women to do whatever makes them happy and stop worrying about what black men are constantly doing. Like, I don't even care to say if something is black men's fault or not. Because they're not going to stop doing what they want to do, and I don't blame them. If they should do whatever they want to do, live however they want to live, okay? I don't blame them for that. I'm tired of black women obsessing over black men like that. Like, are black men to blame? Like, move on with your life already, please. Even if it's just sitting at home and playing with your cat. I'm talking about the real animal, the cat, right? Or your dog, or a goldfish. It don't have to be about, traveling to Hawaii or something. It don't have to be that extreme. It don't have to be like that, right? I'm talking about just stay at your home. Live your life. Go to a movie. Some people don't like to travel. Some people really are just fine sitting at home with themselves and enjoying their own company. And they're happy. Well, I'm just saying, live your life. But, like, for goodness sake, I'm tired of this mess with black men. Like, move on with your life already. Seriously. There's too much going on in the world to be thinking that black men are not stopping black women from being happy. They're not. Okay? Black women choose to constantly give these men all the energy, and that's their fault. Like, people are going to have to take accountability for the fact that they refuse to move on with their lives. Okay? Now, what was I going to say? But yeah, I feel like black women are in spiritual trouble. And I said some time ago that it's best to pray for black women instead of constantly telling them what to do because they're rebellious. Black women are rebellious, and who they're rebelling, who they're going against. They're going against their own selves. They're not going against anybody else that's trying to give them advice. See, they call themselves rebelling and want to go against people who's trying to tell them to do the right thing. But you're not hurting the people that's trying to help you. And the people who's trying to help black women need to just sit back and help themselves. Because when you try too hard to go overboard to help somebody else, you need to look at your life. Because in the 3D realm is a low vibration. It's a low realm. It's the false world. So now we've gotten to a point where you're in sin, right? You're in the 3D realm, you're in sin. What does sin mean? It means you forgot who you were. If you have a soul, if you really exist outside of the simulation and you think you're real, you forgot who you were, and you are under a strong delusion. That's the strong delusion in the Bible. You are under a strong delusion. You think that you are real, and you're not real. The real you could be somewhere else if you exist outside of this. Okay? And so with that being said, there's no room in the 3D to be constantly concentrating on somebody else trying to help them. I'd rather pray for black women, but the reason why I pray for black women is because you pray for black women, you build yourself up. I benefit from praying for black women. I benefit. I do. I benefit. Okay? And I just leave it at that. I don't try to constantly tell them what to do. Okay? I don't do that. The more you try to tell somebody what to do, the more they're going to rebel. And we really shouldn't be telling folks what to do, because we have our own lives to concentrate on. So we really shouldn't be telling anybody else what to do constantly anyway. If our lives are not perfect, if your life is not perfect, there's no room to constantly be on somebody else telling them what they need to do. Okay? But yeah, I still stand on that black men are not the reason why black women are the least married. Because black men will go out and marry whoever they want to. They will go all the way to Colombia. They will go all the way to Brazil. They will go, for whatever reasons they go. Okay? They go all the way to the Philippines. Okay? Passport bros. And then in the United States of America, I see them, especially in Los Angeles, I saw more black men with non-black women. When I go to places like Calabasas, when I'm in places like Culver City, and other places like that, Woodland Hills, I see a lot of black men. When I rarely ever would see black men with a black woman in those areas. I see black men with black women when I'm in areas like Inglewood, Crenshaw, Watts, South Central, Carson. All of the predominantly black areas, I saw black men with black women. But when it comes to areas like Calabasas, Beverly Hills, Culver City, anywhere where there's a mixed, where everything like it's mixed, right? Most of the time I saw black men with non-black women. Okay? And with that being said, black women, you can choose if you want to stay stuck on black men and hoping and wishing that they will turn their heart back to you and thinking you're going to keep changing yourself, and so you can so you can be with the black man that you want. Or you can choose to move on with your life and do whatever it is to make you happy. And you don't have to be married. This is the 3D. Why are you getting into contracts? Let me tell you something. This is a simulation. Why are you entering contractual agreements such as married in the third dimension? If you know this is a false world, some people don't realize this world is false. And I'm going to tell you something I just saw. But some people don't get that this is a false world. They feel like this is a real world. They feel like this is a real earth. They feel like this is a real planet. They don't know that this whole thing is a lie. They don't know that this world is in reverse. They don't know that they are in reverse. Like, we are really in reverse. And when I say reverse, I really mean upside down. When I start to see the real world, I see that I'm upside down and the real world is right side up. But it looks like I'm the one that's right side up, and it looks like the other world is upside down, but I'm the one that's upside down, right? That's because this is a false world. So we're upside down because we're in sin. We disconnected from who we are. We have to get back to the real us. And so we're upside down. Why enter in a contract in an upside down world? Why even be focused on marriage? And I'm going to tell you what, I feel like it's the Most High that have black women single. I don't think black women need. I'm not trying to get married in the third dimension. I'm not trying to get married in the third dimension. And I feel like it's by design. I feel like it's by divine intervention that black women are not getting married in the droves, because it's time for black women to get out of 3D. And so I feel like it's something that's higher, that's more powerful, that is stopping black women from entering these contractual agreements. This is a false world. Why would I enter into a contractual agreement in a false world? Okay. Excuse me. And this is the last thing I want to say, because this is 3D. And this is why I just want to get out of 3D. The reset has happened. And I just had my eyes closed doing a little meditation. And I saw the number 1765. I saw the numbers 1765. Is that the year that everything started? 1765. I mean, 1765 stands out. I want to Google that. I realize I'm supposed to know that, but I don't. I want to Google that. Be that as it may, it's a false world in a way. 1765 is not the real world. That's false history. That's why I don't hold on to that history. They're getting rid of black history because it's reset. They reset the time. I believe it's 1765. And pretty soon, you better do everything you can to get close to your authentic self as much as possible every single day. Get closer and closer and closer to your authentic self. Because if you're not conscious enough, you're going to wake back up into 1765, and whatever was going on during that time is what you're going to end up doing again. You're going to start all over again, and you're not even going to remember 2026 because you won't be conscious enough to remember it. You won't be conscious enough to remember it. So it's best every day to get closer and closer to your authentic self as possible. Now, I don't know if the reset has actually happened and some people's conscious awareness have already gone back to that area, and I'm here. I don't know. But I literally saw the year 1765. That is the reset. They're taking people back to the beginning. They're taking people back to the beginning. That's why I'm not listening to anybody else's stuff talking about Tina Knowles and her little gumbo. I mean, looking at Tina Knowles' gumbo makes me not want to eat gumbo from anybody else. It makes me not want to trust gumbo anymore. Okay? But I'm not interested in what's going on with any of these celebrities. I'm not interested in looking at fake news. I mean, everything is fake news. I'm not real. Everything is fake news. Because this is the false world. Everything is fake news. But I just lost interest in really getting into all this stuff. And if I do listen to somebody, it's just because I need to hear some voices, and because I don't feel like meditating like 24/7, because I don't want to feel like I'm obsessing over it. And so I listen to something else just to hear voices, just to hear something, But anyway, that's it right there, and I will talk to you later.